One love, Delta9 travelers. Welcome in to this special presentation. I'm telling you, emancipation still, yeah, we're still in the emancipation weekend. Big up to all of the travelers that are in the live from the early part. Thanks for tuning in to this special presentation. Now I got a jam-packed presentation for you guys. So much updates, so many things to highlight since we've been live last, right? I want to ask that as you enter, because the flight is boarding, so as you come on to the international connection, just thumbs up the live. It don't cost you nothing. That's your free way of supporting everything that we have going on right here on Delta9 Media and playing your part in advocating for everything going on with the MV Barima and a number of other very important and trending headlines so that they will get to the largest possible audience. I want to thank all the early travelers. Hit that 9 in the comment section for me if I'm coming through, and I'm coming through clearly. I see we are already 50 travelers strong, and we're not even 5 minutes in. Big up to all of those who are early into the live presentation, and we got some headlines that we're going to jump into right away. But because it's emancipation, we're going to hear an emancipation song coming in from who? Coffee. The year we're going on right now.
Happy emancipation, call conscious black people. Free your mind from the PPP slavery. Boom! Africans unite, yeah. Stop all the war and fight. Unite, yeah. Throw away your guns and knives. Unite, yeah. Start hugging up one another tight. Unite, yeah. And everything will be alright. Why you want to hurt your brother, man? He's not your enemy. Why you want to praise Satan? When he is your enemy, why you want to fight each other? Yeah, not a slave mentality. Must make them change, set your mind free, free from slavery. Words of wisdom is the key to establish the truth. Yeah, words got power, so me come to educate the black youth. Yeah. Every day you talk about your gun, and how much life you plan to take down. Oh, but the laugh is not on them. It's you is the clown. Unite, yeah. Stop all the war and fight. Africans unite, yeah. Throw away your guns and knives. Unite, yeah. Start hugging up one another tight. Unite, yeah, and everything will be alright. Love you one another. Each one help one pull themselves from the gutter. Stop think like nigga. You're selling your soul for $1, yeah. You forget about your father and you start look another. How your days is number. Every day is disaster. Every day is another day. Life goes by and your life is decay. The enemy sit down and them plan. Officer craft the council plan we. Yeah, if we unite them can't rule me again. It's time for we bust all them shackles and chain. All them white guard get it out of your brain and dump it down in the train. Africans unite, yeah. Stop all the war and fight. Unite, yeah. Throw away your guns and knives. Unite, yeah. Start hugging up one another tight. Unite, yeah. Happy emancipation, call conscious black people. Free your mind from the PPP slavery. Boom!
The fire mama is in town, yes.
Yeah.
We're so happy to have you here this morning joining us. And of course, you're going to be here
on that stage for the Emancipation celebration.
Yep.
Listen, we've been waiting for this. We've been waiting to welcome you back to Guyana. It's been a while, but you're back.
Yes, I am.
What can we expect tomorrow?
Just me being grateful to be a part of this great music family. You know what I mean? It's so amazing to be invited for such a special occasion as well, you know. I feel honored to be a part of this show tomorrow, this celebration, as I'm hearing.
And you've got a huge fan base here in Guyana. When people heard Queen Africa was going to be here,
yes,
everybody said, okay, now we're going to go to the show.
Right? I love Guyana. From the first time I came here, you know, there's such a, let's say, a common vibe. Like, it's like Jamaica. You know what I mean? The energy, the people feisty, them not care. And if them love you, them love you. If they don't love you, they don't. You know what I mean? And that is what I love about this place.
And I know your career started, what, about 31 years ago already?
You could say that, yeah, because I'm doing decades in the business right now.
What does it feel like, you know, still being authentic after all of those years? Because we know when we think about Queen Africa, that's one thing that comes to mind, her authenticity.
Yes.
That realism that you always bring to the stage, that you bring to every performance, every song that you release.
I'm happy that I chose to stay normal. To be a star these days, you know, you can just blow out of the sky and nobody finds you. But when you stay grounded, you know, it gives you longevity. And I'm so humbled that I took the chance on staying normal at the beginning of my career, because I saw that it was important to do so as well. Because a lot of my peers in music, I saw them losing themselves and I didn't want to be one of those people. So decades later, I can sit here and say I'm ready to go in this future, you know, because I'm so relaxed.
And for you, it's not just about the music, it's also about the community.
Yes.
You know, we've seen your activism over the years, how, you know, you don't just sing these songs.
No.
You live the stories.
Yes, it comes directly from my heart. I always say, I think God chose me to be a part of this mission, because music is the best Bible to read, and it breaks every boundary, every language barriers, you know what I mean? And I'm very humbled to be a part of the music family, especially in this future where music is going to be so important moving forward. Yes.
And we know that the music landscape has changed. You know, back in the days, you got to be hoping the radio station plays your music. You got to be hoping you know some DJ who can really push your music. Now we're seeing people turning to social media. They're turning to TikTok. And you're seeing even old songs are blowing back up to this new generation. How have you been able to balance that and, you know, with the conscious music and the vibe you bring every time?
Over the years, I've always said in my interviews that I come from the future, not necessarily knowing why I was always saying it, but now that we are actually in the future, I can know the time has arrived, and I am so blessed because I see what's happening, especially to young people, that they're so vulnerable and they're open to everything because of said social media and all the differences that have come along with technology and stuff like that. So to be a voice that can transcend into the social space as well, I am also very humbled for that, because it means that I will also get a new opportunity to speak to these younger folks who don't have elders like I had when I was coming up, you know. So I do give thanks to be a part of this future right now.
And they're going to get some of those messages tomorrow on that stage.
Oh yeah, yes. I definitely am humbled to be a part of this celebration. You know, as melanated people, we do need to remember our ancestors and what they have went through, and the fact that we are still not necessarily emancipated as we would want to be. It is also very good to still continue to bring that message of hope and the fact that we can do it if we stick to it, you know.
And those are such important messages. And I know, switching gears a bit to Dion now, those messages will form part of the theme that will make up this big Emancipation show tomorrow when we all come down to the national park.
Yes, it does. You know, our biggest theme that reverberates every year is just honoring those who gave their lives so that we could be here, because if they didn't have people who survived, who went through that tribulation, we wouldn't be here to be able to, you know, continue in this message of African liberation, African freedom. So we just want to encourage everybody, you know, to come out to the national park and you know, celebrate with us, celebrate with the queen. It's not sister, it's not nothing else, it's the queen, Queen Africa, the fire mama. She coming with just hot blazing fire, and we represented the red, gold and green. So come out to shake and party, come out to have some fun. Actor's gonna take you away under the evening. So go, let's go. Oh my goodness. So, right? Come on. This is the vibe. If we're doing this in the studio, what do you think we're going to do on the stage with the whole vibe of the atmosphere? So come on. I know it's hot outside. The temperature is hot, but it's going to be even hotter when we go hit the stage in the national park, when we have all of this stuff going on. Come out for the food. Come out for the fellowship. Come out for the stories. Come out for the history. Come out for the cook-up. If you're going for nothing else, come for cook-up. I met them. We got to. Oh, yeah. $1,000 for adults before 2 p.m. $2,000 after. You can't get a show like this anywhere for that kind of money. Children under 12 are free all day, and we'll be in the national park since 10 a.m. in the morning. I'll be there. You'll see me running around with a pink volunteer shirt. This year we're wearing pink. You know, we're representing all around all the colors we representing this year. So we're gonna be out there. So look for a volunteer if you need help, and we'll be there to guide you in the path that you need to go. We have 2 stages, center stage, and we have the main stage. Well, the finale stage that we have. The tarmac stage. Talk to me good. Talk to me. Yes. The queen understands the mission. So please come to the national park and support us. I don't think any sporting event can compare to a piece of Guyanese heritage, a piece of Guyanese history. We need to celebrate everything that is Guyanese, the history of Guyana. And it's 400 years we're celebrating of African presence in Guyana, and we need to commemorate that as we commemorate lives that were lost this year, as we commemorate brotherhood, sisterhood, fellowship, and moving forward, as we say, into the future as one nation, one people, one nation, one destiny.
Definitely. Going back to you, Queen Africa, you know,
I'm telling you, big celebrations that went down during the Emancipation weekend. Right, Queen Africa touching down all the way from Jamaica. So many other events, so much other things going on in our beautiful nation. Big up yourself, Delta9 travelers. What's going on the other side of the globe? Thanks for tuning into this international digital connection. Now, we got a lot of headlines, and we're about to start getting into a number of them right now. Right here in this presentation, because guess what? Recently, these are some of the developments that's coming in as it relates to transportation in the same region where the MV Barima was traveling.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listen. This is your boy, Mr. Cool, the one and only Mr. Cool. Listen, you see the boat there? I saw it was traveling. Yes, it's reached at region 1 already. Yes, it's already back. Yes. No more party boat. It's already back. Yes. But listen, y'all don't think it's a little too late? 100 and something people dead. I call it 100 and something because how much more ain't found yet? So y'all ain't shame? Y'all ain't shame that it finally reached the region 1 when it's supposed to reach the region 1 in the first place? So y'all want a clap? Take a clap. Take a clap for bringing it to region 1. But it is a little too late. Bring back the lives that lost, was supposed to be traveling, was waiting until that boat reached. It's little too late. But
Too little, too late. That's the cry that persons are crying right now. Because the boat reached. But look when it reached. Look why it reached. Right? And don't think that persons are still not saying float the boat. Don't think that persons forget about what's going on with that. Listen, there's so many things for us to get into. But these are the views of some Guyanese about what's going on right now with the Emancipation celebrations. How are you feeling about this year's Emancipation, Delta9 travelers? Drop it in the comment section. Call it in. Let's hear from persons on the ground.
And we are not emancipated. Afro-Guyanese, we are not emancipated. We take a stand for nothing when it actually matters. We don't even take a stand for ourselves. We don't know who we are. We don't love who we are. We don't choose who we are. And then we wonder why everyone does the things that they do to us. We constantly put ourselves in the position of being a victim. And let me say this, we have been victimized, but we never try to step out of that state of being. It's like there's this obsession with struggling. There's this obsession with crying and pleading and begging. Aren't we tired? Aren't y'all tired? I don't be on no begging no more. Aren't y'all tired? The truth is, if we're to actually tap into ourselves, if we're to tap into our power, if we are to connect, if we are to reconnect, what is it with the saliva? If we are to connect with our ancestors, fully connect with them, if we are to rid ourselves of every system that was instilled or every system that was used to program us to surrender our power, y'all know how good we would be. Do y'all know how? Y'all don't. Y'all don't, and it's because y'all are scared. We are a people, and we are getting weaker and weaker by the day. We're out here, Afrocentric people not having ego debts, so everybody is living in this ego, and your ego is not benefiting you because your ego is broken. Your ego is a version of you that was hurt. It's probably a version of your suppressed ancestors and foreparents that was hurt, and that's what you carry around like a badge of honor. You're not open to constructive criticism. You take no accountability for anything, and when it's time for you to be weak, when it's time for you to break down, when it's time for you to release all that you've been holding, you feel like the best thing for you to do is to toughen up and suppress it because that shouldn't bother you. And as a man, you should never cry. And as a woman, I don't know what they say about women. That's why I stop. But anyways, we are not emancipated. And I am not wishing nobody no happy nothing. Because we are not.
And there's some history to that, you know. There's some history about the triangular slave trade, some esoteric history about that we got to tap on before we jump off of this live presentation, even if we extend the live a couple of minutes to get into those details. But right now, we're going to hear from the leader of the opposition, giving us some insights about these very important things going on the ground right now.
Family trees have been wiped out. Some families lost 7 loved ones that night. In some homes, mothers, fathers, children, nieces, nephews, brothers, and sisters are all gone, leaving only one surviving relative. There are children who have lost parents, parents who have lost every child, and a husband who lost his wife and children. To the survivors and families of those who died in the MV Barima tragedy, and to those still waiting for news of missing loved ones, I urge you to remember what happened after the Madya Dorm fire. Just 3 years ago, 20 indigenous children were burnt alive due to the negligence of the PPP government. The government had these high school children trapped in the dorms. The parents of the victims were pressured into accepting $5 million Guyana dollars from the government in exchange for settling all claims arising from the tragedy. The written agreement itself confirms that the $5 million was intended to constitute a settlement of all claims and causes of action. This is where Minister Kioma Griffith's involvement comes into question. Attorney General Anil Nandalal handpicked Griffith to act as so-called independent counsel for the families to trick them into accepting next to nothing compensation. The grieving parents did not choose him. Griffith traveled to Madhya, gathered the families under a benab, and advised them that the court process would be long and drawn out, and that it would be better to accept the 5 million being offered by the state. One mother later alleged in court that she had never retained or paid Griffith and had never met him before that day. The agreement was witnessed by both Kioma Griffith and Shoshana Lal. Ms. Lal works closely with the AG, Anil Nandalal, in his chambers. After carrying out that role for the government, Griffith was later rewarded with a ministerial post. This is the typical PPP playbook. Select the people who are supposed to advise victims, rush grieving families with $3 and $5 million settlements, and attempt to close the door on further legal action before they fully understand their rights. The families who refuse to sign those agreements are today before the courts. The government has retained some of the country's most senior and experienced lawyers to fight poor indigenous families. If this government was prepared to do it to the victims of Madhya, they can do it to you too, the survivors and victims of the MV Barima.
Yep.
Pay
No
careful
stone
attention.
unturned.
They will use lawyers, ministers, and ministry staff to call you, but do not be pressured, coerced, or frightened into signing anything. Choose independent counsel who answers only to you and not the state. No amount of money can bring back your loved ones, but the state must not be allowed to repeat what was done after Madhya. WIN is prepared to assist families in identifying independent legal representation so that they can pursue justice and be handsomely compensated. The Ministry of Human Services has finally begun reaching out to some of the victims following our public outcry. However, families have reported these interactions are a phone call asking, "How are you doing? You all right? You feel like killing yourself?" This is not the standard of care that people who have suffered this level of trauma deserve. We need clinical psychologists and skilled professionals in grief and trauma therapy to be sent to the homes of the victims. We hope that families will receive long-term psychosocial support.
Very important. And as we're on the information being highlighted by the leader of the opposition, the top cop, Mr. Slow, was highlighting these details about what's going on with the recent verdict, so that we jump into these headlines right now and we get these insights from the top cop himself.
Independence for all courts in Guyana, and opined that the public statements by the Vice President and the Attorney General referencing the existing judicial proceedings can undermine the independence of the judiciary and have deleterious effects on the administration of justice and the rule of law in Guyana. They are to be denounced.
The court also signaled that the challenges to the authority to proceed should generally wait until after the extradition committal proceedings are complete, rather than being dealt with earlier.
It is at the proper time, when the challenge to the ATP is ripe for litigation, that the fair-minded and informed observers' assessment of bias will be fully brought to bear. At the appropriate time for the inquiry into bias, the fair-minded and informed observer must consider all the facts and circumstances of the case, including, as in this case, whether the conducts complained against as indicia of bias were gratuitous on the part of those impugned, or whether the impugned conduct was provoked by the complainant, thus depriving him of clean hands in the overall circumstances of the case.
Well, hope they listen to what that ruling is. Hope there is things. So the matter goes back to the magistrate to proceed with the extradition proceeding. But some things were mentioned there, and I have a note, because they're gonna jump up and when they come to propaganda, they're good, But there are certain things that were said there in that ruling. I listened to it yesterday and I read some things that were said. Hope they recognize what the CTJ has indicated. My interpretation is that CTJ claimed that perhaps some of these thing was premature. So I don't know. But here what I have some points here that I pulled off the net this morning. Presumption of innocence. The para 104 of the ruling. It says the Attorney General must not undermine the presumption of innocence or appear to have made up his mind. They're talking about the Attorney General Anil Nandlal, SC, MP. 2, it said criminal already improper. The judgment said branding unconvicted persons as criminal already was not proper.
Okay.
3, Bush liars, comment criticized. Attorney General must not ridicule liars for representing their clients resolutely. Anil Nandlal, they make some comment about Bush liars, and the people say the Attorney General must not ridicule liars representing their client resolutely. Pressure on the magistrate, right? It says executive statements about officials being compromised or watched raise deep concerns about political pressure. 5, it says in terms of judicial independence, it said the judicial independence is sacrosanct. 3 judges said conduct capable of undermining judicial independence is to be denounced. They go on to say 5 here, claim of unusual delay rejected. The US extradition commonly takes more than a year. This process has not shown to be uniquely slow. 7, excessive political language. The president, vice president, and attorney general were criticized for language that may have crossed proportional limits. 8, Maduro puppet claim question. 3 judges noted no evidence of treason related charges supporting the government's promoted allegation. Then 9, it says parliamentary delay question. The judges said that 2 months delay and later 12 weeks delay raised legitimate question, not final findings. And then the last point here says, when they talk about speed of the authority to proceed decision question, judges questioned whether the extradition request could be properly assessed within 2 or more hours. They questioned that. So there's a lot of this and done, This and done. So there are a lot of things that were said there. Let me go on, as I said, the court rebuked Jagdio and Nandlal for the...
What an embarrassment, I tell you. Caribbean Court of Justice, I tell you, rebukes just the behavior of some persons. It's unnecessary, but guess what? It's necessary because of the things that is being exposed. Noreen, thanks for being a part of the live presentation. Blessings to you as well. And thanks for being a frequent traveler right here on Delta9 Media. Big up yourself, PA. And thanks for being in this live as well. If the world is against the truth, then I am against the world. Telling you, raise the Barima. Big up yourself. Definitely condolences to the family and all the loved ones, and rising power to our everlasting energy that would have transcended in that tragedy, right? Persons are still saying, raise the Barima. You can get into them headlines,
Public comments on the matter while it was engaging the attention of the court. The appeal was dismissed, but the judges recorded 10 serious concerns about the government's conduct. I just read them there. Then we go on, it is clear that the AG lacks the ability to learn, as he has again commented on a case before the court, this time on the murder charge against three persons. I'm referring here to the people in the MV Barima. He got in learn. The Guyana Attorney General and learning, right? So he was rebuked in this matter. I remember there was another matter too, where the judge of the CCJ who died had some scathing remarks against the Attorney General. This same Attorney General, Anil Nanlal, but you're learning, so he come again this time around. And he
They tell you. Ras Levi, Lion Pass, same waking. Thanks for tuning into the live presentation. Jeffrey, what's going on? Big up yourself. Thanks for being a part of the live. Good afternoon, Delta9 family. Big up yourself, Jeffrey. So we heard from the top cops. What y'all think about what's going on right here? Because after that judgment came in, it's been weirdly quiet about that judgment. You know, if y'all notice, like we didn't hear much coming. Cause we hear a little bit coming in from Team Win, but we didn't hear much coming in from the Attorney General's office as yet. So it's an unusual calm, because I thought they would have came out and, you know, had a number of press conferences and a lot of different persons talking about the judgment and this, that, and the third. But I ain't seen none like that yet. But guess what? Make sure you subscribe, because we are going to be bringing all of the updates as it relates to that and a number of other headlines. But we're here right now where Mr. Burke is highlighting about this.
Jump up and said, these guys committed murder. They should be charged. They were drunk. Where's the evidence that they were drunk? These men were reportedly in the water, in the Atlantic Ocean for hours. Apparently 7 hours. Where is this test that these men were drunk? And even if they had alcohol in the system, how are they responsible for a boat? How are they responsible for a boat that is not seaworthy, had no anchor, so the boat could even anchor in the sea if it encountered engine problems? Engine bad, no fire safety equipment on the boat. By the way, I'll be releasing some photographs tomorrow for the boat. No fire safety equipment. So if there was a fire on board, they had no hose. They would have got run with bucket and out it. Had no radar to pick up other ships in the area. Had no communication system to communicate the emergency. How are these men responsible for overloading the boat? But Anil Nanlal jumped out because he wants the world to feel that these men were drunk and driving the boat. But these things happen because we accept it. Why aren't people calling for Anil Nanlal to face justice for the murder of Courtney Coming? He and one of his colleagues, somebody who worked for him, named Brian Richards, I think, they were investigated by the police for the murder. His vehicle was seen on the scene when Courtney Coming was gunned down, driving away. His vehicle, Anil Nanlal's vehicle. Release the files. Call on the police department, CID, the crime chief, everybody, commissioner. Release the files on Anil Nanlal since you know that black people commit murder. My past black people, man. This is no nice talk time. This is not time for diplomacy. I stopped here tonight because I saw some of his comments again. And I want to respond to you because I'm a black man. And I am responsible for ensuring that I represent my people. And let me repeat again, Anil Nanlau was involved in the murder, I believe, of Courtney Cumming, and he's getting away with it because the formal justice system, the racist PPP, DPP, Shalimar Ali, she don't want to do anything. The police, who are house slaves of the PPP, they don't want to do anything. Why? Because he's an East Indian PPP, East Indian supremacist. And I'm not by any means implying anything negative about East Indian people. I'm talking about people in the PPP. I have seen the documents accusing Anil Nanlal of the murder of Courtney Cumming in possession of the FBI. I have seen them. He threatened to kill Courtney Cumming twice. So don't jump out and talk, but those 3 black men committed murder. When y'all send them, as David Patterson rightly pointed out, these are madmen, they're jihadists. They're jihadists if they went out there to commit murder because they had no guarantee that they would have survived.
Exactly.
They hide in responsibility for killing the people from people in the PPP. One agent is equally guilty of murder. They would have Indar, the minister responsible for public utilities and aviation and the maritime department. He is equally guilty of murder. Orphan Ali, by still tolerating them in his cabinet, is equally guilty of murder. Cathy Hugh Smith, the general manager of THD, not a word, not a speak, not even an apology. Her department, she's the general manager. She's the general manager. You know something? Let me pause there. I see these PPP guys.
Big up yourself, PA, and thanks for highlighting these insights in the comment section. The MV Kimbia is part of 5 years. It was built in 1961. By Guyanese tradesmen, right? So why are we buying vessels from India? You see? See, I mean, we could have done another vessel. We could have used tradesmen or had it built right in Guyana and prevented this situation right here, but instead we're outsourcing. I'm telling you. Big up yourself, P. Thanks for dropping them insights in the comment section. Vibert, big up yourself, King. Vibert saying good evening to Delta9 Media and all the right thinking viewers watching from the East Bank of Demerara. Big up to everybody on the East Bank. Big up to the whole of GT. Still Emancipation weekend. I know some people definitely still enjoying the festivities. Raymond, big up yourself. Thanks for tuning into the live. I am Raymond. PPP must go. PPP is no good. Big up yourself, Raymond. Seems like a lot of persons are making that same shout.
There's a sick in the PPP. Every one of those guys in the PPP, maybe it's a cultural thing. Anytime you criticize them on policy, they come back telling you about penis and I see, brother, take that penis you're talking about home and give it to your mother.
Yeah, man, this thing going real far now between these opposing sides.
One hasn't said anything. Her department has not even issued an apology for killing these people. An apology for sending these people on a doomed voyage. Not a word, they're not care. The Guyanese, those Amerindians, and however little black and Indians, their lives are dispensable to the PPP. And the
sad reality when you think about it, you know. Because as of now, the boat should have been floated since 2 days after at the least. You understand? So that the investigation could have moved forward in a real way. And persons could have gotten some closure to what's really going on. Maybe analyze what's going on with the poll question of the day so far. As we move through the life, it's a Sunday afternoon, you know, we're taking it easy, we're cruising on a holiday weekend, right? What is needed most for Guyana to heal from the MV Barima loss? Raise the boat and a full COI. Ministerial resignations. 67% is saying ministerial resignations. 33% is saying raise the boat and a full COI. I don't know. This question is, this should have all of the above. But we get all of the above. We just got these two options. See, it's a 50-50 split. 67-37. 50-50 again. 50-50 split. 50% is saying raise the boat and a full COI. That means 50% of the voters or 50% of the persons that participated in this poll is feeling confident in the persons that are going to be a part of the COI. All right? So that means that 50% of the persons feel confident, 33%, 67% feel confident in the COI. Right? So 57%, and the participation is very active because the numbers keep switching up, 57 to 43. What is needed most for Guyana to heal from the MV Barima loss? Raise the boat and a full COI. Ministerial resignations, 38% is saying they need resignations. 62% is saying raise the boat, only we get a full COI. All right. So for now, that's what the votes are looking like on the poll question of the day. What are your views? What would you vote for? Raising the boat or ministerial resignations? Participate in the poll. The question is still up on the channel, and we are still live here with you. And guess what? We jumping into a number of headlines, and we got so many things to highlight right here on Delta9 Media. Big up to all the travelers that's live with us right now.
Eight Butterfly Sea Moss Powder. Take your daily routine to the next level. Natural vegan superfood powder. Essential multivitamin powder made just for you.
And then you would know the weight of those vehicles, the size of those vehicles, and you would know more so the weight that boat was carrying at the time. Right? So the boat went down just a couple minutes after 11 o'clock. And the boat went down just a few miles off the Demwara River mouth. Why the Coast Guard take 3 hours to get to that location?
This is what a lot of people are asking, why they took so
Why the
long.
Coast Guard take 3 hours to get to that location? When they have the I-Powers boat, the police have the I-Powers boat or Spowers. And from the river mouth to the location is just a 20 minutes drive with the boat.
Wow.
Why they take 3 hours? You tell me.
Y'all
How
hearing
can
this?
those people survive in that water? For 3 hours, that deep water, children that cannot even swim, children that cannot even walk. Tell me how this government expect that those children would have survived in that water for 3 hours.
But then the scapegoating, three persons alone, when there's so many more implications to what's going on right here. So many more implications.
What needs to get to the Commissioner of Inquiries is what time aviation received the distress signal, what time they pass it to Coast Guard and other personnel. Those are the key things in that investigation as to what resulted in the death of so many people. Right? But my thing is, and there's another thing the public should call for, if the MV Barima cannot float, then those men should not be in prison. If the MV Barima cannot float, then those men should be released immediately from police custody. Right? Because there is no evidence to jail those men, because the prime evidence is on the ocean floor lying down. And what the police did, not the police, what the government did, is to collect those men as soon as they've been rescued, put them in police custody, pass them through court and send them to jail so that they would not speak to the media. So that they would not speak to the media or the opposition would not get a chance to interview them. Because there's so much those men has to say. Right? There is so much those men has to say. And I would not trust this Commissioner of Inquiry that's coming up. Right? Because these are men probably have close ties with the PP government. So we would not have a credible and a partial investigation done by this inquiry. Right? So if the government choose to leave the boat there, then there is no case against these men. Because all what you're hearing here is here said them said she said the DP get and she put it on record. She's another waste of time. Shalimar Aliak is a waste of time as DPP. Right? And I think it's time Shalimar Aliak gets removed from there as soon as the next government change. Right? How can you be the public prosecution department with lack of evidence? You permit charges to be instituted against these men, pass them through court criminally, and remand them to prison without the investigation even started. So on what grounds these men were prosecuted on? Yes, you said something, 2 counts of murder. Where are the evidence to show? Where are the evidence to show that it is these men negligence that the boat went down? Yes, the people say they were drinking. Yes, the people say they were smoking. Where are the tests that you test these people that is positive, as you allege,
Exactly.
to prove to the country or to the public that indeed these men were under the influence of alcohol and under the influence of marijuana? Those test receipts must be presented to the Commission of Inquiry with date and time and place or venue that the test was done, and with those men assigned to it, those men name assigned to it. Guyanese public, it's time y'all come out and take the street and protest against this government for this particular reason. Because this is another count of murders under the PP government that is going to be swept under the carpet. Right? That is going to swept under the carpet. So Mark Phillips and all of them who call himself the Prime Minister, who never hold a press conference since he took office, coming out now as the black sheep, the scapegoat for the PP party, to come out and tell people that the boat got to stay there. Why the president didn't come and tell the public that? Why Nandalala come and tell the public that? Yep. They send him a fool.
Political, you know? It's almost like if you're destroying your political career when you come out and do them things like that. But I guess when you ain't got a choice, you gotta do whatever you gotta do. You gotta take orders, right? It's dark.
A scapegoat, a man with slavery mentality, to come and tell the public. And saying, based on the requests of the families, the people already said they want the boat to come up. If their family born, they need it. So why you are trying to control what these people say? Or you are trying to put words in the people's mouth? The boat must be salvaged for a thorough and a partial investigation to be done and inspected before anybody should face the court. And those men should have never been remanded until an investigation is concluded. So y'all did not put those people in prison because they committed an offense. Y'all push the people out for getting to jail to avoid the opposition leader from interviewing them, to avoid the media from interviewing them. Because y'all know those men knows everything about that boat and what was going on. And all the complaints that made to y'all from the health and safety officer go right down. Even this health and safety officer should have been in prison. So why just those 3 men? Y'all use those 3 men as a scapegoat, right? To deter people's attention from what is going on. But y'all can't fool nobody.
Telling you, persons is calling it out, and they're calling it out all over the world.
You want a proper adjudication of the sunken MV Barima, don't you? Well, listen to me. You have to raise the boat from the seabed and do a thorough investigation, and don't do things prematurely because you're not sure about that. You have to raise the boat and do a thorough investigation that will bring you closer to a proper adjudication of what happened, and it will also give you clues of how to plan for the safety of other vessels traveling on the rivers in Guyana. But you have to raise the vessel. I don't get involved in matters in Guyana. I try to avoid it because it's hard to find rational thinkers there. I get FS and all the letters of the alphabet. That's what you get in that committee. But I make an exception this time. Raise the boat. Guyanese, you want a proper
lawyer. I would like you to name me once in your lifetime when a crime was committed and those who were culpable, the perpetrators of that crime, decided when the crime scene is no longer a crime scene. That's all, Mr. Bland. Because I know that you knew when you charged those three men that the charges can never stick.
Never.
I cannot understand why you would tarnish your reputation and your character and lay yourself at the mercy of men who only know treason. Mr. Bland, you're the crime chief. My understanding is that you're also a lawyer. I would like you to name me once in your lifetime when a crime was committed and those who were culpable, the perpetrators of that crime, decided when the crime scene is no longer a crime scene.
There's a whole lot of jiggery pokery going on in this situation right here. And that's why I keep highlighting these very important points so they can't sweep it under the rug and so persons could understand just what's going on with the updates and the developments to the investigation, right? Big up yourself to all the travelers live with us right now. Who is in the chat? Let me see who's traveling with us and what's going on with the travelers. Yesterday is supposed to be our day. We're still living in bondage. I'm telling you, we're supposed to be free. Our minds from mental slavery. Powerful point, Lorraine. Yesterday was supposed to be emancipation. I totally agree with the astute patriots. It's like a case without a body of a victim. The MV Barima was also, right? Metaphorically speaking, was also a part of what happened that day, metaphorically speaking. Yeah, so they gotta definitely raise the boat. That's a good point you made right there, PA. They definitely gotta float the boat, but we're hearing a conversation about persons looking around for a company to raise the boat. Well, I'm hoping that they could come together with persons from the opposition, because the opposition would have already had persons that they would have, surveyed to do that particular venture. So let's hope that it moves forward in a real way and it gets done. Burnell is saying on point, bro. That's facts. Big up yourself. Thanks for dropping those insights in the comment section. Wave Knee saying, I never trust no inquiry in Guyana. Never, ever. Never, ever trust no inquiry in Guyana. Well, let me see what persons are saying right now. on the poll questions, because that's a part of the things that we're analyzing today on the poll, right? What is needed most in Guyana to heal from the MV Barima loss? Raise the boat on a full COI, 78%. With me, 78% is saying they need a full COI. And that COI is where? In Guyana. So I'm guessing there's a lot of persons that do not hold those views, right? And ministerial resignations, 26% so far, right? Big up yourself, Wave Me, and thanks for being a part of this live presentation. Almost 400 persons live with us right now as we cruise on a Sunday afternoon. Make sure that you are subscribed. It costs you nothing, but it will keep you connected with everything that's trending in Guyana and in the diaspora. Vibert is saying all two are important. Raise the boat and, right, the ministers resigning. This is what I'm saying. I was saying, Vibert, this might have been one of the polls where we might have wanted to have all of the above. But guess what? We just got two options and there's who you're working with. Big up yourself nonetheless. And that's a very good point that you made right there. But persons are saying if they had to choose, they're saying raise the boat on a full COI. Right? Because I think one might bring the other. What do you think? I think one step might bring another step in this situation. I know, but there's what it's looking like as I analyze it. Big up yourself to all the travelers live with us right now. And that's what it is, the votes so far, right? That's what the votes are saying so far as it relates to the question of the day, the poll question of the day. 79% is saying raise the boat on a full COI. Raise the boat on a full COI. Right?
A natural way to stay ready, baby. 'Cause I'm ready for you, Mr. C. The ultimate male supplement, men's total wellness formula, packed with essential nutrients for men's health. She'll call you Mr. C.
Declare them free. They were creating fragments of freedom wherever they could. A provision ground could create a degree of economic independence. Remember, those guys used to come and flood your fields, and you're practically forbidden from growing your own food, in much the same way as the present system feeds upon creating dependency. So it was in yesteryear. So a family network could preserve human relationships in a system designed to commodify people. A religious gathering could provide community outside plantation supervision. An escape could establish physical freedom. A maroon community could establish an alternative social order beyond colonial control. And if you want to read more about the maroon communities, for instance, there's an excellent book called The Black Jacobins. That's about one of the first maroon uprisings for people in the country we now know as Jamaica. A rebellion could attempt to replace the plantation government entirely. Freedom therefore existed on a spectrum. It could be partial, temporary, hidden, collective, fragile, but it existed. Freedom was being practiced before it was proclaimed. Emancipation did not end the struggle. Then came emancipation. The British Parliament abolished slavery in the colonies, but emancipation was not an instantaneous transformation from bondage to equality. In British Guyana, formerly enslaved people entered the apprenticeship system before full emancipation arrived in 1838. And when slavery finally ended, another struggle began. The formerly enslaved had freedom of person, but they still had to survive within an economy dominated by the plantation. The plantation owners still possessed the land. They still controlled much of the economic infrastructure. They still needed labor. And the formerly enslaved increasingly understood that political freedom without economic independence could leave them vulnerable to another form of dependency. So they acted. They left plantations. They established villages. They pooled resources. They purchased land. They built communities. I want you to understand now, you always hear about the African village movement. I want you to understand why this movement started, why people are leaving the plantation, why people decide we need to have some sort of economic independence, right? Because in a system where all the land and all the assets and everything is controlled, it's ripe for dependency. Some of the same sort of dependency we see today in 2026, okay? So they created churches and schools. They developed their own economic and social institutions. The formation of villages by formerly enslaved persons was not there for a simple demographic development. It was an assertion of authority. If the plantation represented a world in which someone else controlled your labor, your residence, and much of your economic life, then owning land and building your own village represented something profound. We will determine where we live. We will determine how we organize our communities. We will determine how our labor benefits us. The struggle had changed form, but it had not ended. Now, from plantation to village. Oh, the sound is gone. How far back? Sorry, guys. Somebody. All right. Okay, so the formerly enslaved increasingly understood that political freedom without economic independence would leave them vulnerable to another form of dependency. So they acted. They left plantations, established villages, they pooled resources, they purchased land, they built communities, they developed their own economic and social institutions. The formation of villages by formerly enslaved people was not therefore a demographic development. It was an assertion of autonomy. If the plantation represented a world in which someone else controlled your labor, your residence, and much of your economic life, then owning land and building your own village represented something profound. We will determine where we live. We will determine how we organize our communities. We will determine how our labor benefits us. The struggle had changed form, but it had not ended. From plantation to village. This is an important part of Guyana's emancipation story because it demonstrates that freedom requires more than the removal of chains. It requires the ability to build land, education, economic opportunity, community institutions, political representation, control over one's labor, and control over one's future. The former enslaved did not simply leave the plantation and disappear into history. They built. Village after village became evidence that people who had been treated as property could become landowners, farmers, artisans, merchants, community leaders, teachers, religious leaders, and political actors. The plantation had attempted to define their worth by the labor it could extract from it. They answered by creating communities whose worth could not be measured in plantation profits. The quiet rebellion continued after emancipation. This is why emancipation should not be understood as the end of resistance. It was indeed the transformation of resistance. Under slavery, the struggle was against ownership of the person. After emancipation, struggles increasingly involved land, wages, working conditions, political rights, education, and economic independence.
How much has changed from then to now? See, I understand where I started off the live with the sister that was highlighting the fact that she is saying happy emancipation, because are we really emancipated, Delta9 travelers?
No. I'll read that again. So after slavery, the struggle didn't end. The resistance transformed. So now you were free on paper, right?
Yeah.
And you just sum it up in your mind. How many of these challenges are we still facing today, a couple hundred years later, and even after independence, right? After emancipation, we work in a few hundred years with no pay, right? Struggles increasingly involve land, wages, working conditions, like being sent out to sea in an 87-year-old rust bucket, and when you complain about it, you get sent home for 7 days at a time, no pay, and if something goes wrong, you get charged for murder. Just a random example there. Political rights, education, and economic independence. The question changed form. It changed from how do I escape the plantation to how do I ensure that I never become dependent upon the plantation again? That is a much larger question, and it remains relevant, because political independence without economic independence can leave people vulnerable.
Every single time. Every single time. That's why persons got to network. That's why you got to create international connections like Delta9 Media, other ways that we would network as well, not just on the internet, on YouTube, on a live, but other ways that we could support and look out for one another. You got a product that you need marketed. Listen, we have a reach to millions and millions of persons viewing this platform every single month. Let's network. Let's grow businesses. Let's make sure that we can have some amount of economic independence so that we can have some amount of what? Political power as well, right? As we analyze some more of what Mr. David Gaffer said, Independence Weekend, special presentation right here on Delta9 Media.
Legal freedom without institutional protection can be fragile. The right to vote does not mean much if citizens believe they must exchange their political loyalty for jobs, contracts, services, or access to opportunity. A government can be elected democratically and still develop systems of patronage. A country can become independent and still struggle with dependency. The form changes, the underlying question remains.
Powerful points that we definitely should consider.
Here and in the diaspora, to my Caribbean brothers and sisters in the Channel Islands and even further, right? Are we really and truly emancipated as a people? I want you to think about it for a minute. Let me have a drink. You don't think about it? Are we really and truly emancipated as a people?
That's a good question.
I googled the word this morning, which I know the meaning, but I googled it to see what Google gave me, right? in a nutshell, it means to be free from control. It means to be free from control. Whether somebody got in captive, slavery, or anything otherwise. To be free from control. That's what the word emancipated means. Right? So this is why I ask the question again, are we as a people truly emancipated? In my personal opinion, no, we're not. No, we're not. We're far from being emancipated. And I can give you maybe one or two definitions, right? One, you know when we was to sign that oil contract, right? When we was to sign that contract, I think it was in what, 2015 when the government take power. We signed that oil contract. I can't remember exactly if it's 2016 we signed that contract, right? But let me put it this way to you guys. When we was to sign that oil contract, I don't know how much you're familiar with what really transpired that went down. The Granger administration at that time, right? Don't come and tell me about PPP signed the contract. No. When the fine oil, that 2% contract that the Granger administration signed, right? When after we found oil and all this thing and go back to the table and get to understand the magnitude of how much oil we had there, right? The Granger administration, PPP did sign the 1%. So let me clarify, let me make it clear so you understand where I'm coming from, and you could Google it and check what really transpired, right? PPP signed the 1%, right? That was the finers, right? If the finer was the 1%, and then after the found a quantity oil, that contract was signed on the coalition government, right? And again, why I ask the question, are we truly emancipated? You know what we did? We went and saw and seek out a white lady. I don't think she's from England. I think she's from Canada. That read that contract in the space of what? 2 to 3 weeks, and come back and tell us that yes, it's a good contract. It's a good contract. Sign the contract. The 2% and with the royalties, it's a very good contract. So again, I ask myself, I ask you guys out there, are we truly really emancipated? Why we gonna get some of our smartest minds and put on the table? We have to seek white people approval to sign that contract. I want you to follow me and see where I'm going with my argument. We have to seek another white person approval to sign that contract, which is one of the worst contract in the history of signing any oil contract that we have there. Right? So my question again, are we truly emancipated? They had some, look at this here for another point too, right? Now, all my life, growing up, I know Cuba was one of our greatest allies. You hear my word? Allies, which meaning they are friends or family, right? They always send aid to the Caribbean. I speak about it already, so I'm going to do it again because Emancipation Day, right? They always send aid to the Caribbean to assist the Caribbean brothers and sisters whenever we got problems, anywhere in the Caribbean. The Cubans turn up first, yeah, I tell you, and they do it for free when they send the doctors and the nurses. For free. I remember when COVID hit us, yeah, I tell you, when America and Russia and all these people give you Sputnik, give you all these different fancy vaccination, yeah, I tell you, which they make no sense. No sense, because like me and others, enough others out there, did not take that. Because we weren't going to be controlled by the massive. Yeah, I tell you, we was never going to be controlled by the massive. Right? But yet still with the same breath, these same European countries, so to speak, and America turn and tell us, more or less America turn and tell us that we should cut ties with Cuba. That we in the Caribbean need to cut ties with Cuba, or else we can't come back to the country. Like as for me, I done got a whole video. They tell them that they could take the visa and put it where the sun don't shine. I have no need of visiting back America. Not only that crazy idiot. And in fact, in general, I don't even think I want to go back to that place. I love my Caribbean brothers and sisters. I love the Caribbean. So again, are we truly emancipated? Remember now, to be emancipated means to be free. And to be free, it means that you can make choices of your own and without having to fear anybody else can wonder about your choice. So my question again to my Guyanese brothers and sisters and those in the those other islands and everybody else, are we truly emancipated? That's my question to you guys. It's like we cannot do nothing without the white man approval. I don't really like to go down that road, but it is what it is. We cannot do nothing without the white man approval. You know what I'm saying? We cannot do nothing without the white man approval. And in this PPP government, American Donald Trump just getting on this, you have one big picture with Donald Trump. What Donald Trump has done for Guyana? What has he done for Guyana? In fact, what has he done for the Caribbean in general? Nothing. So again, are we truly emancipated? Brother Bob said a song. Brother Bob said, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves could free our mind. And what the people did? The people take the shackles off of our hands and our feet and put it on our brains. This is where they control it now. We cannot do nothing without the white man approval. Yeah, I tell you, none of our leaders, you see, every time they got to go before these people out is making themselves a buffoonery and trying to pretend to, the people bring us to the table. As guests, that we and really freely emancipated. That's the question. They bring us and you know what use
Guyana. Today I people living and surviving in Guyana who lost relatives. Most of them are Amerindians in Guyana, and they have seen my videos and they're asking, my relatives died, they were on the ferry, we've not seen them since. How do we help their children to get an education, a standard of life? How do we get compensation for our family? And it's a rightful question because this is human life, human tragedy. It trumps everything else, all considerations. And it's not to against the government solely as a Guyanese American patriot who was elected to represent folks and who's done so in the world's largest diaspora, and who's been a former magistrate, prosecutor, and senior police legal advisor and state counsel that did a lot of these cases. So I'm sharing my knowledge with you in the hope that we can get just solutions, we can make people whole, we can bring them to a position of strength, and we can help their lives. Because after all, these are citizens of Guyana. These are people who are entitled to Guyana's greatness, its oil, its riches, and due compensation, and most particularly justice. Well, Mr. John, I won't disclose the other name, Mr. John and Mr. Horatio, these are the issues that you have to first look at. You only have 30 days from the date of that tragedy, 30 days, a few days ago, 30 days to file a notice of claim against the government of Guyana. Just like in New York, it's 45 days. You have to file a notice of claim to be statutorily eligible, a prior notice of claim. Consult a lawyer there. Very simple statement of notice of claim, name, address, lawyer's name, and we're claiming for monetary losses and compensation for the deaths and suffering of our loved ones, the pain and suffering and the sudden deaths, the loss of life, loss of income, and issues like that which are related to someone's death.
That is the first thing that has to be done to preserve that claim. The statute of limitations is very important in matters like these. This is where the civil law comes into play. Let's put aside the criminal law for a bit and let's get to the civil law. The civil law, the state is liable under the State Liability and Proceedings Act. So you must bring that lawsuit as soon as possible with a notice of claim within 30 days, and the lawsuit itself has to be filed within 6 months. Other than that, you'll be statute barred, and you don't want to be in that situation. That is why I'm calling on the Guyana Bar Association. I'm calling on lawyers in Guyana to come together pro bono. If I was in Guyana, I would have convened that because I'm authorized to practice law in Guyana. I'm licensed there still. I am as a former lawyer, jurist, magistrate, and prosecutor. We will still have to get these. We can get these done. But in the meantime, you have to put together a notice of claim. Secondly, you have to ensure that these matters can be tried before the court, that you have proper standing. That means that if they die without a will, you can ask the court to appoint you as a legal representative, as a guardian, or as the person with interest who can represent those kids that have lost their parents and are left in limbo, left without hope, left without possessions, left without hope of a life. You can stand firm and get these folks and get them the due compensation that they deserve and that we expect to flow from this. Every country has this responsibility. Now, you'd also have to move to the High Court or the Registrar General if they're going to have such a situation or such a procedure to declare these folks dead who are not recovered. Now, that will be a bit bothersome in the sense that you don't have dead bodies, and that is why you have to bring up the vessel. And I will go to that in my next video. But right now, you have to get a court declaration that these people died, preserve all manifests, all photographs, all tickets going to that ferry, all folks who saw them there, all survivors who were aware that they were on the ships, all evidence you can preserve, affidavits and so forth to show that they were on the ill-fated MV Barima that sank. And therefore, the court can make an order, publish it in the newspapers, call for some sort of inquiry to flush out if there's any evidence that this person exists or they are still alive. And if you can show that, then the court must come to a reasonable conclusion that that person died, and that will give you standing to bring. So these are the first things: notice of claim, presumption of death to get a certification of death from the courts or the Registrar General, and 3, to file the motion or file the action, the statement of claim against the Transport and Harbors Department, the Attorney General, and the minister responsible for that particular, not in their personal capacities. These men didn't willingly do that.
One love, Delta9 travelers. Who is live in the chat with us right now? Who is live in the chat with us? Big up to all the travelers that's live right now. What is needed most for Guyana to heal from the MV Barima loss? Raise the vote on a full COI, 76%. Ministerial resignations, 24%. Right? Question of the day so far. That's what persons are saying. What's going on in the chat? Lopsided is saying that the CCJ surprised many people. I'm telling you. PA is saying there are typically two sides to a story, like the MV Barima, the truthful side, and the lying side. I'm telling you. Christopher is saying we need to find out why people on the boat was not wearing their life jackets. That's a powerful point. Could it be because the checkers were fired, Chris? Might that be one of the reasons? Because when certain persons took over power, we heard from Mr. Patterson that they had checkers that used to make sure that these safety precautions were followed, and these persons were no longer a part of the team. So might that be one of the reasons why persons were persuaded and not have their jackets on? That might be one of the reasons. I don't know. We're analyzing it, you know, Chris. We're analyzing it. What do you think? Unita, thanks for being a part of the live presentation. Unita saying good night. Delta9 family. Let's float the boat. That's what a lot of persons are saying. That's what a lot of persons are highlighting. They're saying float the boat. That's what 77% is saying. Raise the boat and a full COI. Burnell, they have no love for us poor people. I'm telling you, it's a real rough reality when we analyze it, Burnell. Raymond is saying, raise the boat. Right? Waveney saying she didn't go out for the emancipation because she knows that we are not emancipated, so she just stay home and rest up. I'm telling you, sometimes that's the best thing to do. 77% is saying raise the boat. 22% still saying ministerial resignations, meaning they want some of the ministers to resign because of what's going on, right? We all think about it, Delta9 travelers. Drop it into the comment section or definitely participate in the poll that's up on the channel right now. Let's hear some of these insights coming in from persons that are surviving this tragedy. Condolences.
Give us the call, said that they had found him. Even to me, myself was telling my family that we found him. But when you get to understand, on one of my great nephew went, and when they turned the body that he had suspect was Rayman, that person had a tattoo, and Rayman don't have a tattoo. And what I experienced from the president yesterday, and when he said that they're going to lift the ship, I feel, great relief to know that it's going to live. If you should pick up anything for Rayman, then we will be more satisfied. So that was not the plan to leave the ship alone from, to what I understand from the president. They're going to salvage it, as what I said. And he said that they're going to take about 8 to 10 weeks to do that. To be honest, he is my favorite nephew. I used to live here. We sleep together until I get job and I went away working. We were still bond. We do a lot of things together. Go in problem and come out back. His mother doesn't even know about it. Every day, although he's working there, every day myself and would talk on the phone. Even before the Saturday, around 1 o'clock, 1:30, he called me. And he said, Uncle Malik, I'm going out. And when I come back, I got to set your sister right. I know she can't walk. She did not hear right. And she does not see good. I got to buy a car and make sure I can take her out where she wants to go. Concrete is yard, finish her the house, and they will live together. That was the last I bought from him.
That's rough. Condolences to the entire family and all the loved ones affected.
From Region 2 Fisher Co-op Limited, and right now the current situation that is happening here, we not getting, we fish sell. When the fisher folk, when the boat then went out, then come in, they get a call from the Barima not to work anymore, break the trip and come in, because fishing is selling in the region, and we're not getting the fish sell in the region, and we need somebody from the higher authority, especially the agriculture minister, to come down here and look into this matter, because we hear this going to carry on for over 3 months, and we want to know what we fisher folks going to do, because that is what we depend on right now. And we try manning up the saying here for hold the workers then, but how long we never got saying forever to man. We need to go out back, and we already suffer from the sarabasm. When it was 3 months we stay home, we not work, and now the little fish start to catch, and we can't work now. We need somebody to come and tell us something. Name is Diana Bastia.
So a number of other things now affecting persons because of what went down with the MV Barima, and the number of persons that might still be in the vessel. Persons are not buying fish. So fisher folk now feeling the squeeze. PA is highlighting this very insightful commentary in the chat. Big up yourself, PA. Poverty is a form of bondage. The impoverished is often the most oppressed and subjugated and abused in society. Wealth removes some of the chains, but none is truly free. Telling you. Marcia, thanks for tuning into the live. Marcia is saying we stop eating fish. Marcia is saying when the dam burned in Maria, President say you got to get a COI. President say you got to get COI, never got a COI. President Ali's fooling Guyanese people. I tell you. So when the whole Maria thing went down, persons are still waiting on justice in that situation, right? Still waiting to get some type of closure in that situation. International connections, you see. We on the East Bank, we in the US, we in France, Canada, all over the Caribbean. Listen, we global and we networking and we analyzing what really going on with the developments concerning the MV Barima and a number of other headlines that is definitely trending right now. We got to get into some of the developments with another very important and trending headline that we got to update one another with. So much more things that we got to jump into on this line.
You know, I would have said in a previous post that if the captain and crew members are guilty, by all means, let them be charged, let them face the full brunt of the law. But the captain and crew were not operating alone. They were operating under supervision. They were operating under management. All right. If indeed the boat was overloaded, the products did not, or goods and whatever it was that was on that vessel did not magically appear on the vessel and only the captain and crew knew about it. The additional passengers who were not on the manifest, they did not come in canoes and board the vessel. They walked through that gate and walked past everybody who are supposed to be booking and documenting and doing all of these things, and they ended up on that vessel. All right, so my issue is, if you want to charge everyone culpable. For people higher up, when the COI gets done and the findings are made public, and if people higher up are guilty, well then, whatever course of action is recommended, let it be done. On an ethical basis, some people should have resigned. But that's a different topic altogether. All right, so the issue is not about rushing to provide proof that you're providing justice. Justice must be just. And charging a captain who, by the way, is also a survivor, regardless of the circumstances of whether it was his fault or his crew's fault, what happened. He's a survivor anyhow. And the two crew members. While leaving others who were also just as culpable for that vessel leaving that wharf in that state. I mean, if you wanna bring justice to people, charge some of them as well.
Exactly.
Right? And that is my main issue. The captain, I mean, he had a choice as well. As I saw a video earlier where someone mentioned he had a choice of not taking the risk, knowing he must have been an experienced captain. He must have known his vessel was overloaded. Assuming that indeed it was overloaded, I do not have the proof. We're going by hearsay. He must have known that, in his words, the vessel had several issues. He still decided that it was okay enough for him to sail that vessel. So, in many ways, as that person mentioned, at some point in time, people need to draw the line. I have been contacted so many times by my clients, and they said, hey, we got some extinguishers, we got an inspection coming up, and we just want some tags on it so that when the people come and inspect, they can see fresh tags on it. And I tell them, I said, look, sorry, but my reputation and my company's reputation is at stake here. And if these people were to do a detailed inspection and your extinguishers do not meet the standard, the required standard, my company's reputation is at stake, my reputation is at stake. And that is me drawing a line in the sand. There are certain practices that I will not involve myself in. All right, and yeah, so for that, I mean, he's an adult, he's experienced, he has a conscience, he took a chance. But he was not the only one who took that chance. Several others are involved in that. And I hope that as we go forward, there may be more charges. Because for 3 persons to take the fall for something that was clearly operational in nature, lapses that were in clear breach of operational and safety procedures.
Very, very powerful point.
It doesn't sit right with me. That being said, they're guilty. Let them do their time. All right, when they were earning the money in an unhanded manner, I'm sure they were enjoying it, while the poor and suffering travel under those conditions, and they are and the survivors and those who lost their loved ones are now left to pick up the pieces. All right, so I don't have any sympathy for them. If they're guilty, let them face the time. Let them do. Let them face whatever comes their way.
Carlisle, shalom, shalom. Thanks for being a part of the live. Telling you, persons are definitely voicing their opinions on the MV Barima and a number of other developments.
%100% wild-crafted sea moss. Only the best, 'cause you deserve nothing less. 8 Butterfly.
Sean Laken was reportedly kidnapped and beaten. He later died while receiving medical attention at the Georgetown Public Hospital. Subsequent to his death, police issued wanted bulletins for several men. The problem is, Jermaine Castillo, who is among the men who were wanted by the police, his friends claim that he's innocent of the crime and that between the days Laken was allegedly murdered, Castillo was on this spot looking at football. His friends are claiming police injustice, mistaken identity, and they are demanding justice for Castillo's freedom. They are now telling HGP Nightly News their stories. Listen.
My name is Dev.
Dev, yeah. You are claiming that Jermaine Castillo is innocent of the murder of Mr. Laken.
Yes.
I see the police issued a wanted bulletin for him and he later surrendered charge for murder and remanded to prison.
Correct.
Tell us why you think he's innocent.
Cash is innocent because on the day of this incident, that they say this incident occurred, Cash was watching football up here with several people. Several people that went to CID to give an alibi for Cash whereabouts, and they were chased out of the office. Subsequently, they went to DPP to make a report. DPP took the report and said they're going to send for the file and see what's happening there. Now, Mr. Caesar, Mr. Reed, Mr. Langley, all of them know that Cash is innocent of this crime, but they're trying for cow by Cash. What they're not telling the people, Cash turned himself in when the wanted bulletin came out. Secondly, they charge Cash, put Cash through court. The public can know nothing whatsoever about Cash. Now, if a man guilty of a crime and a man gonna do whatever that he has to do lawfully, then we ain't got a problem. But if we know Cash and everybody here know Cash is innocent because he was here, they're supposed to investigate and look into this thing. Now, we ain't come here for threaten nobody, or we ain't come here for nobody bully we neither. If we can't get justice for Cash, we gonna protest peacefully about it. We open that the Commissioner of Police and the President of Guyana look into this matter, and let Caesar, Mr. Reed, and Mr. Langley explain what going on with this thing.
You said
Cash have nothing to do with this incident.
You said two things to me that caught my attention. You said that they're looking to cow by Cash.
Yeah.
Why? Is it a personal vendetta, or do you know if Cash and the police have a problem?
Cash and the police don't have no problem. You could ask anybody, Mr. Castillo, Jermaine Castillo, that is his name.
Right.
You could ask anybody in this community about Cash. Nobody don't get problem with Cash. Cash don't get himself in no problem with nobody. And as I said, when the wanted bulletin came out, Cash turned himself.
All right. Have you spoken to Cash since he was incarcerated?
Yes.
What is he saying to you?
Same thing. Cash, basically, he's an innocent man, and everybody knows this, but I don't know.
Apart from, and lastly, apart from a verbal alibi that you would have given to the police and the DPP, do you have any physical evidence, like a video?
Well, the thing is, they have a camera here, but the camera only go back so much. Days we was trying to see if we could get the videos, but I think when we did check in, it's when it go back from by the 15th straight back. Now, they say this incident happened on the 30th or the 4th. We ain't got the thing, but Cash was watching football on his phone, and maybe they could check in GT&T or Digicel, and they must got something they could do for thing. We don't mind providing the phone and whatever.
So you remember the match that was being played?
Well, I gotta be honest, I wasn't here watching the match, but they got several people here come and tell you they were with him the day watching the match. And the same several people that went to CID to say that Cash was watching this game with them, and that Mr. Castillo was watching this game with them, and they chased them out of there. Chased us because I was with them. Till we come out of the place.
My name is Kevin Critchlow, aka Basil.
Basil, what do you know about the incarceration or the alleged innocence of Jordan Castillo?
First of all, I was surprised to know that the police going about the place picking up random people and putting out wanted bulletin for random people. If the police need somebody, they got to do what is required of them, and the person will go into the police. Because since Cash observed the wanted bulletin, right away he make himself available and went into the police. Do nothing, fear nothing.
Where was Cash on that day?
Cash was right here, within the same vicinity here, and there watching football in the presence of every single body. Where we normally watch football.
You're making representation for Castillo. What about the other men who were accused? Do you know anything about that?
As it relates to the same incident?
Yes.
No.
Have you spoken to Cash as well?
Yes, I've spoken to Cash.
Or the attorney, tell us about your experience speaking with him, what he said, and when you went to the DPP and the police, what exactly happened?
Well, when we went to the DPP, I didn't go up the step. Because there was a few of us went there. I didn't go up the step. The CID had parted the chase us out from there. And then we go to DPP, they take a statement, they say they're going to communicate with us. Nothing. And then the police issue a wanted bulletin for Cash all over the media. But when Cash went into the police, he was charged and processed and passed through the court and upon remand. Why didn't he afford a statement saying this gentleman came into the police, he was charged and processed and these kind of things? Nothing.
You're right about that, because the press at least is not made aware that so far 2 persons have been charged.
Correct.
So your friend alluded earlier, they said that the police were trying to cowboy Cash, and I'm trying to get why would the police.
Mr. Travis, Cash never had no previous incident or matter with the law, whether summary or indictable. You understand? And more so, Cash was a serving member of the Guyana police force. You understand? You have no criminal record.
You said summary or indictable. You're familiar with the...
Yes, very well. I have fair knowledge as it relates to the law.
What if Cash is convicted and jailed for this?
Well, Mr. Travis, you can't charge people, and the police, this is what the police constantly doing, and is the wrong thing. The police is pick up people, process them, and charge them and put them before the court. Charge them, put them before the court, remand them to prison. The matter run for 2 mornings and then it dismissed because they have no sufficient evidence to support the charge. But the problem is when you do these things, you're tarnishing a man's career, because completion is such, where you gonna go and find jobs? You can't even travel as you please anywhere you go. You get a criminal record. You understand? This is not the way it's supposed to be.
Yes, again, what if you don't get justice?
Well, Travis, to be honest with you, we ain't looking for no problem. We want no problem. We gonna hit the streets. We gonna hit the street and protest peacefully. But if nobody looking in we direction, we gotta do what is necessary. You understand? Remember, we ain't looking for problem, but we gotta support we own. You understand? You can't picking up an innocent man and putting it before the court just and then you update in the media. You understand? We gonna hit the streets and do what's required of we. You understand? Do nothing, fear nothing. I personally, and more so the others who was in the presence of us watching the football, willing to come forward to give a statement as it relates to this matter.
that what Castillo was here.
He was here in the presence of us watching football. It was Switzerland and France and I feel this is the team that was playing on the force and the third force.
First of all, I know Mr. Castillo is innocent. I could tell you 100, we could stand, we could step, because I know Mr. Castillo watching when the football show, we watching games together, game after game. We don't move, we like together, eat together. You understand? Like brother grow together. You understand? And it's not easy for somebody to play something upon you just so easy. You understand me? It's hard rendered because Mr. Castillo get a family and he concerned. Just cast my way just like that, it's in right. You understand? And we're looking to see that the higher guy that is supposed to look on it, the president can look at it and he could do something about it. You understand? We asking because we're going to protest peacefully in Buxton if they don't know nothing about it. You understand? They can't cast someone away just like that. It ain't nice. So, fair enough, we standing for Mr. Castillo 100%. You understand? And we know it's fair enough, fear nothing, they do nothing, fear nothing.
Yeah, not different from me. Castillo just come every day, we line, play football. Sometimes we play cricket, we watch football every day. So when I see well, you wanted and so it shocked me, because you know, we went both at the same time all the time. So I understand.
But what I want to say as well, we don't do media, right? When you see we come from the media, know that this situation hurts the elderly people in the village as well as everybody that know Cash. Mr. Castillo, as the police know him. We making no threats to nobody, nor we ain't trying to make the situation into something it is not. But what we are saying, we have to get justice for Cash. Now, when it comes to Mr. Caesar, I looking in the camera and let everybody, the whole Guyana know that Mr. Caesar know that Cash have nothing to do with this incident.
I'm telling you, another railroad, another scapegoat, another situation. So this is a whole other protest that's about to join in with the protest that's already going on right now. That's we're going on right here, Delta9 travelers. We hear something.
Mr. Reed knows that Cash has nothing to do with this incident. As far as I understand, Mr. Reed and the guy, whatever his name is some family or something, I was told. I could be wrong, I don't know. But as I said before, if Cash is guilty of this, then whatever will be, will be. But the whole Buxton community know that Cash has nothing to do with this incident. And we're not going to stand for this. If Cash is guilty of this incident, then whatever happened has to happen. But Cash has nothing to do with this incident. And again, I said, we went to CID to St. John Road. Several of us.
Several attempts.
Here now.
We make several attempts, but like it falling on the deaf ears.
When we try to explain, all right, all of these people was with Cash, watching the games. They give you a whole long run around. Mr. Langley upstairs don't want to come downstairs. Send one CID guy to tell us come out of the building. Now this is a government building. We free to go any building that the government owns. And why they don't want to take an alibi for somebody that they charge for a crime?
More so indictable matter like this here. Murder. If several persons was in the company of this person willing to come forward and give statement as it relates to this matter, the police is not willing to take the statement. So we'll go seek some lawyer and submit the statement and let the lawyer submit the statement to the police because the police is not willing to take statement from anybody.
And if on Monday or Tuesday, any day that any day that is comfortable for them, several individuals willing to go to CID headquarters, the St. John Road, or CID headquarters, CY site, and give their statement. And again, I said,
Tell the public when you put out a wanted bulletin for Cash and himself into Vigilance Police Station. You don't have to look for Cash.
So, right thinking Guyanese friends and relatives are coming forward and highlighting another scapegoating that's going on. Yeah, think about this. We had to make sure that we bring this one and big up to Mr. Chase and the entire team for advocating and highlighting these very important points. It's important that persons understand, just some of the levels of oppression that persons got to experience and live through on a daily basis in Guyana. On a daily basis. Well, guess what? The opposition leader is highlighting some very important details. And we're about to get into it right now, right here, Delta9 Media.
My brothers and sisters of Region 10, the time has come. I'm calling on every resident of Region 10 to join me in a peaceful protest at 9 a.m. on Tuesday, August 4, 2026, in front of Watuka House, where Barra Jagdeo will be. Let us send this dictatorship PVP government a clear message that enough is enough.
It takes. And Granger needs to understand that wherever he goes, he will be met with protests. He will not be speaking on our behalf. We will urge people to stop paying taxes. We will urge people to stop paying taxes. We will not be part of any parliament, etc. We're going to take this resistance to a different level. I don't want to be comprehensive.
Now, wherever you and your government go, you must be met with protests. It is time for Region 10 to be treated fairly. It is time for Region 10 to be respected. It is time for the people of Region 10 to receive the justice and representation they deserve. For too long, this government has ignored the voices of the people of Region 10. Almost 1 year after you voted, Region 10 remains the only region without an elected regional chairman and vice chairman because the government appointed REO has refused to call the meeting to complete the process. That is not democracy. That is dictatorship and a blatant disregard for your vote. While ordinary public servants struggle to make ends meet, the Guyanese people continue to ask serious questions about the wealth and resignation of Ministers Susan Rodriguez, Zulfikar Mustafa, Sarah Brown, Juan Ejil, and President Irfan Ali, and whether one set of rules applies to the corrupt PVP politicians and another to everyone else. The questions surrounding the president's farm have never gone away. The Guyanese people are still waiting for clear answers. Instead of transparency, we have seen silence.
Persons still asking things like this.
That everybody knows about. Or they could use it for blackmailing. You can't use something that is known to blackmail somebody. It's skeletons in your closet, people that's used to blackmail you. And so I want to ask Ali this morning. He's talking about a message or messages that he received from Shell Mohammed threatening him to release certain recordings. Azudin didn't release any recording. Azudin spoke about the farm. Ali, Mr. President, what are those recordings that Shell Mohammed sent to you?
Deflection and a government that expects the public to simply move on. Region 10 produces enormous wealth for this country. Your bauxite, gold, timber, sand, and stone help build Guyana. The trucks carrying fuel, goods, meat, chicken, beef, and even Brazilian cows pass through this region daily. Yet too many families here continue to struggle. When the people of Kwakwani and the Demerara River suffered during the floods, they deserve urgency, compassion, and support. Many residents were abandoned when they needed their government most. And while Guyanese continue to ask difficult questions about the corruption and mismanagement, Barra Jagdeo became absent and silent and stopped his weekly press conferences. The people deserve answers. They deserve accountability. They deserve leaders who are prepared to answer for their decisions. Then there is the MV Barima tragedy. Families are still grieving. Families are still waiting for justice. Yet ministers Ejil and Indar remain in office. That is why we are demanding their removal from office. On Tuesday, the time has come for the people to make their voices heard. Come out in large numbers. Bring your family. Bring your friends. Bring your neighbors. Let us stand together and send one clear message to this government. Respect the people. Respect our vote. Respect democracy. Let us stand together and demand accountability. Let us stand together and demand fairness. Let us stand together and demand that Region 10 get the respect it deserves. The power has always belonged to the people. On Tuesday, let us show them that the people of Region 10 will stand together, speak with one voice, and will not be ignored. Londoners, with your fighting spirit, you have proven time and time over that you will not sit back and accept mediocrity. You have always been a people to stand up for your rights. Let this time be no different. My brothers and sisters of Region 10, the time has come.
Linden, the time has come. You heard right there from the leader of the opposition, Honorable Mr. Mohammed, highlighting a peaceful gathering to be held in Region 10 on Tuesday. Unity or else, more of the same. Unity or else is more of the same thing, right? Big up to all the travelers that are live with us right now. Who is live in the chat with us right now? I'm telling you. We all think about those developments that we just got right there from the leader of the opposition. We all think about those updates right there coming in. Linden this Tuesday, peaceful protests, a call to action by the leader of the opposition. Enough is enough, and it's about that time. We all think about that, Delta9 travelers.
No matter where in the world, we love Guyana. What are your colors? How do you represent? I love Guyana. Order yours today. We ship worldwide. Delta9 Media.
One love, one people, the mission complete. One love, one flag, one nation, right? Under the stars, divine presence in the sky. Unity, no one, let the children thrive. Power to the people, we keep hope alive.
Delta9 Media, live with you right now, right? Collective non-compliance, collective go slow at work. Next step, a general strike. Telling you, let's hope that the country don't got to be brought to those depths for persons to do the right thing and make the right steps, right? Because it's gonna cost a lot. And let's hope that they don't get to that. But it seems like there's where God reached to. The leader of the opposition is calling persons out on Tuesday, Delta9 travelers. And we gotta make sure that we highlight a number of other headlines and updates coming in upcoming live presentations and pre-recorded videos. So if you're not subscribed, I know if I tell you about it. It costs you nothing, but it will keep you connected with everything trending in Guyana and in the diaspora. Swan Girl, thanks for tuning in to the live presentation tonight at Delta9 and all the viewers. Big up yourself, Swan Girl. And thanks for being a frequent traveler here with us on Delta9 Media Live. The flight has landed right here on Delta9 Media. I want to thank every person for being a part of this live, all the moderators and everybody that tuned in. Let me see what's going on with the poll question as we land the plane right here. What is needed most for Guyana to heal from the MV Barima loss? 80% of the persons are saying raise the boat and a full COI. 20% is saying ministerial resignations, right? So we're looking for a couple ministers to resign. 20% is saying that. 80% is saying they need to raise the boat and they need a full COI. What are your views, Delta9 travelers? At this point, you gotta drop it in the comment section. If you weren't live with us to be a part of the poll question of the day. But guess what? Thanks for being a part of this presentation. To all the moderators, big up yourself. To all the frequent travelers, all the persons who are traveling with us for the first time, hit that subscription button so that you'll get a notification every time that we're live or we upload some pre-recorded content. Monday, Gun Day. Look out for some range videos we're going to be uploading tomorrow on the channel. Definitely we had a range challenge recently while we were out at the range. So we got some different type of content that we're going to be putting up on the channel tomorrow and going through the week. So look out for those special updates. And do remember that you can join our other channels as well. Let me share the barcode so that persons can make their way over to the channel and subscribe from the earlies, right? There we go, right here, right? Those are the other two YouTube channels that you can subscribe to us on. They got Delta9 Media No Filter. That's a brand new platform that we're building up the subscribers. We need to get Delta9 Media No Filter to 1,000 subs by the end of the month, Delta9 travelers. Please and thank you. Please and thank you. I got some different type of content that I don't want to crowd the channel, this channel, and make it too much different types of content. I want to keep it themed in this way that it's themed right now. So I'm looking to build this other channel so we could do some different kind of lives, right? Different types of live content. So be a part of the Delta9 Media No Filter. Scan the barcode or just type in Delta9 Media No Filter, just like on the channel. Delta9 Media No Filter. Join the channel from the early part. As soon as we get to 1,000 subs, we're going to be doing lives on that platform. A whole lot of different types of content, X, Y, and Z. And if you're into the esoterics, if you're into understanding what's behind the veil when it comes down to the political systems, when it comes down to astrology and a number of other things, guess what? Gnosis Focus is the channel for you. When you talk about that, milk for babes and that food for grown men and women, Gnosis Focus is the platform as well, getting into a lot of the esoterics, a lot of scholarship. There's thousands and thousands of books on Gnosis Focus, right? So much video coming in from scholarships like Ivan Van Sertima, Dr. Ben, Bobby Hemmett, Phil Valentine. So much scholarship up on that platform. Plus, guess what? We always share this digital library right here. So let me make sure that I pull it up and put it on the screen. Over here at Delta9 Media, we don't hold back the information. We share the information so that persons can travel with us and travel at the same speed. because you know sometimes we take the flight at different altitude, and when we take the flight at different altitude, we don't want to be speaking over persons' heads. So guess what? There's thousands of books just in these 5 barcodes right here, and there's other ways that you can get into the information. Where when you get into notebook learning module, now notebook learning module is an AI app or an AI page that you can use to view the information and analyze books, videos, and a number of other ways to analyze scholarship. You can get a mind map, you can get video charts, all types of ways for you to study and get into all of these different information that's up on the screen right now. And this is just 5. There's a number of other folders, a number of other notebook learning modules that we have up on a number of other topics. Matter of fact, given that this is emancipation, let me pull up the one on history so that persons can get that on this live presentation. Like I said, there's a number of other ones that we do have up. The one right above my head is the one on history. That's another notebook learning module as well. And this is another notebook learning module as well. So I just shared 2 different notebook learning modules above my head with the 5 that's on the screen. You understand? You see how we do it over here at Delta9 Media, right? So there you have it. The one for history, as I speak right now, the one for history is above my head. And guess what? Those 5 on the page are connected to the names right above them. Big up to all the frequent travelers. The flight is landed, Delta9 Media. I want to thank all the persons that are traveling with us for the first time. Make sure that you subscribe and join the team right here on Delta9 Media, right? And guess what? If you would like to support the platform, consider becoming a channel member. That's our barcode right there on the screen. YouTube membership on some side of the screen, whether it's the right or the left, it says YouTube membership underneath the barcode. If you'd like to become a channel member and support everything that we have going on over here on Delta9 Media. One love again, and I'll catch you in the next flight.
Study hard, work hard, play harder. Verb, nerve, and muscle power. Keep thinking and moving at any age. Verb, nerve, and muscle power.